Hey, it's your local fish keeper Sabrina. How's everyone been doing? I hope you're fine. 2022 is here and I wish everyone an amazing new year. One of my New Year's resolutions this year is to have an endless supply of ramshorn snails. Now, if you're new here, you might be wondering, Sabrina, why do you need so many ramshorn snails for? Well, because of them. So the majority of my puffers diet consists of ramshorn snails, not Malaysian trumpet snails, not mystery snails, not even bladder snails. They just want ramshorn snails. There are plenty of ways out there on breeding ramshorn snails, but today I'm going to show you how I personally breed mine. If you do have any tips or tricks you would like to share, feel free to comment down below. Let's start with the items I used to set up my breeder tank.
First, you will need some sort of container. Any sort of container that is safe will do. In this case, I'm going to use this small breeder box as well as this small tank. The bigger the size of your container, the better. I've even bred them in buckets before. Next, a cycled filter, an air pump, an air stone, Dechlorinator, TDS Meter, KH or GH powder or anything that can raise your GH level, coral chips or crushed corals.
Before we move on to setting up our breeder tank, let's have a look at how these snails mate and breed.
Ramshorn snails are hermaphrodites, meaning they have both female and male reproductive organs. Their genitals are located near its tentacles. The way they breed is quite unique. After climbing all over each other, each snail will try to implant their sperm into the other snail. But it doesn't stop there. To stop the sperm from reaching its egg, each snail will then try to kill the sperm. Simply said, it is a battle of not wanting to become a mother and get pregnant. This is known as tocophobia. As for the outcome, either one snail or both snails get pregnant. A single ramshorn snail can breed on its own, but the most common problem seen afterwards is that there will be difficulty in breeding two snails of the same one parent. Their reproductive organs are usually mirrored, and thus they are unable to breed or very difficult to breed. Ramshorn snails lay their eggs on any surface they can find, either on leaves, glass, rocks, and even on each other. A friend of ours on Instagram @_Ayun recommend adding in driftwood into a breeder tank as he finds that his snails prefer to lay their eggs on them. Each snail clutch usually contains about 12 eggs. If their environment is favorable, the eggs will hatch in 12 to 40 days. In my experience, on average, it takes about 3 months to get a sizable, notable snail. Here are the water parameters I go by. Ammonia 0, nitrites 0, nitrates less than 20, temperature of 21 to 26 degrees Celsius or 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, a pH level of 7 to 8, and a TDS range of 150 to 300.
These snails prefer neutral to alkaline water with hot water. Soft and acidic pH level will cause their shells to corrode and leach out.
So these are the containers I'll be using. I might have done an oopsie on this one though. This quote-unquote breeder box was actually advertised for betas and I thought the dividers can be removed, but only the blinders can be removed. I'm still going to use it though, but I hope no one seriously keeps their betas in these. I noticed that snails prefer to lay their eggs on dark and opaque surface, so the blinders are going to be useful in that sense. But if you don't have this, don't worry, they will really lay their eggs on any surface. I'm going to go ahead and fill these containers with dechlorinated water, so be right back. I'm back. Since I have filtered water, my TDS meter is reading 0. And as I've mentioned earlier, we need it to be between 150 to 300. So I'm going to use this GH powder to raise it up. I'm also going to add a few coral chips or crushed coral pieces to raise my pH level. These are cuttlefish bone. You can find these online or at pet stores. The snails are going to graze and eat it, and it's a really good source of calcium for them. When you get them though, make sure to wash them first to get rid of any salt residue. Salt and snails simply do not mix. In you go! The cuttlefish bone is going to float in the beginning, but it will sink over time. Besides cuttlefish bone, you can also add in clean baked eggshells. This part here is totally optional, but I'm going to go ahead and add in some moss to make it more comfy. Next, a cycle filter. Snails are living things, and as living things do, they produce a lot of waste, so a filter is definitely going to come in handy. Another perk of having a filter is it will produce surface agitation, which allows for oxygenation. Now, even though ramshorn snails are fully aquatic creatures, they possess a lung-like organ to breathe air. What they'll do is they will float or crawl to the top of the water surface, trap air inside their shells, and then use it to breathe underwater. It's like their very own built-in air tank. So, the question now is it possible to not use filters in your tank? While it is possible, you are not going to get a good yield of baby snails, and the water will get funky fast. Let's say you really do not wish to have a filter in your tank, then I highly suggest adding in an air stone. Please note that either way, you will still need to perform water changes, but without a filter, you will need to perform more frequent water changes.
Finally, let's add in our ramshorn snails. I have two different species of ramshorn snails. The pink ones will go inside the small tank, and the blue ones will go in the breeder box.
Perhaps the most important part of this video, ramshorn snails' diet. They require a calcium-rich diet for their growth and development. Signs of lacking calcium include whitish, brittle shells and ringing of the shells. Ramshorn snails will eat absolutely anything that you offer them. Contrary to popular beliefs, they do not eat live plants. They will only eat them if the plants are about to die or if there is lack of food in the tank. But since we want our snails to have strong and healthy shells, they need to be fed a calcium-rich diet. Let's have a look at our food options. First off, Snallow. Snallow is actually really great for them. There are plenty of Snallow recipes out there online that you can refer to. I probably should make a separate updated video on our Snallow recipe. Besides that, blanched vegetables such as spinach, cauliflower, green beans, and zucchini are also good for them. Since I breed Ramshorn snails as food source for my puffers, I feed them these spirulina chips or tablets to gut load them. Ramshorn snails are bottom feeders, so they will also eat fish food, shrimp food, and algae. If you're not planning to breed your snails for food, Ramshorn snails make great algae eaters.
And that's really all to it. If you have any questions or you would like to share your tips or tricks, feel free to write them in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content, and especially do write in the comment section below, as I would love to hear your thoughts and read your comments. Until then, see you next time!